Yeah, that's not 205, that's 20342. That's the wrong code. So why is our object code reverse map screwed? Object code, it's adding the physics code. Create FNV32 hash. Yeah, we should be, that's what it should be. Why is the code wrong? Like, this is when we create this guy, the object code is set to, oh, it's the object ident code. That's what it looks like. Create FNV32 hash for the object identifier. So I shouldn't be using the object code, I should be using the object ident code. Object code. So, type code. Code is going to be physics component object ident code. Well, maybe that's not right. We've got the object code and the object content hash. So what is the object code set to? It's going to be in paper flipbook component or paper physics component. Let's stop Unreal. No, so paper physics component.cpp object code. It's not paper physics, really, it's paper flipbook. The object code is inner object object code. Do we use the object code anywhere? It's the object code, object content hash. Do we use the ident code? Looks like we need to add the object ident code to this thing. But do we actually need it? Or can we just... The object code is something else, isn't it? It's the actual code of the object with the basic things about it. So we need to set the object identifier. Channel doesn't equal channel. If they're different, refresh physics. So is this where we make all the components? Trying to remember all the things because it's been quite a while since I made this part of it. So we got the channel, we got the ident code is what we want out of this thing. We're going to want to put that ident code onto the physics component. So do we put it here? Yeah, create child physics components. I think they only create the components at start. Child physics components.add. Is So this is the only place where we actually add them. It's create child physics components. So the identifier is that. So we want to do phys identifier code equals object dot. What is this object? Flipbook collision object. They don't have ident codes, do they? They have identifiers. So we need to hash these? Is that what I mean? No, I don't think so. I think when we call refresh physics, I mean, there's an easier way to do this. That's all I'm saying. Oh man, this is some old stuff. I gotta look through it and remember what the hell I was thinking back in January. We have the identifier, but we don't have the identifier code. The paper physics component needs the identifier code. The object code is something else. Paper sprite collision objects themselves have that on them, and we are going through the paper flipbook collision objects. Get collision objects on the source flipbook. Where are you? You're in paper flipbook.h. So these have identifiers and object codes. Get collision objects. So paper flipbook has this on it. CDP. Wish it wouldn't flip around like that. So collision objects dot add. So we need to change this to have an object code, I think. I mean, not an object code, but an identifier code. So we need to like change all of this crap. Paper flipbook collision object. Collision object is a paper sprite collision object. Paper flipbook collision object. So should be an N32 identifier code. And the reason we're getting this identifier code, even though we already have the string, is because we don't want to be calculating at runtime if it's deterministic. We just don't need to do that. So, paper sprite collision object, where are you? Paper sprite collision objects have an object identifier code. Yes, that's what we need. So we have that set. Are we gonna have to re-import all the things to get that data on? I think we are. Need an identifier code on the physics. 52 identifier code. I thought we had this set up properly though. We were doing it yesterday and we were using something here in order to actually get this. We were using the ident code already inside of we're getting the channel from that. So we should just be able to set the collision map here properly because we have the ident code and we've already guaranteed that we've got it proper, so why don't we just go revert that and revert this. And let's just set our physics component identifier code right in here. So is this set every time we change the physics state? It seems to work properly. Is it set up properly to begin with though? What is paper flipbook changed physics state called set flipbook? So it is called like immediately on object construction, so we should be okay there. And then it's our physics utils that need change. What the hell is physics utils? Physics utils. It's not the object ident code, it is identifier code. Well, after all that, let's see if it works. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an engineer. If I can't find a good Spotify thing for my stream, I might just make one. Though it depends if you guys all want to know the sound of my music. The names of the music. I'd have to see if Spotify even has like an API for it. Yeah, I've been uploading like all the stuff I've been doing on Twitch to YouTube, and it's pretty funny because I was like, I'm not waiting here and clicking all these buttons for the YouTube API, so I made like this command line program that automatically creates all the playlists and uploads, splits all the videos and uploads them as like hour-long chunks, and it also like grabs a thumbnail and automatically throws text on the thumbnail and all that sort of bullshit. So, and I'm done streaming, it like saves the video to like the right folder. I just like hit a batch file and then I just go to sleep, and in the morning everything's done. Well, it doesn't take that long. Alright, so now we should actually get our physics components, but let's see. Move object. Yeah, I saw Adam was streaming Torchlight too. I didn't see how long he was streaming that though. Is that something I should like actually go do with him? Get physics components. Components. Oh, we got a physics component. Holy shit. We've got it. And it's located with like body and physics and all that crap. This is Bitey's physics component too. I don't even know what the hell it looks like. Let's see. So sweep component is going to take this position and sweep it down. And I have absolutely no idea. Shortest distance. Did it get set? I don't think it worked. That's the thing is, yeah, OBS has like you serve web pages and all that stuff as kind of overlays onto your stream, so it actually wouldn't be too hard as long as like Spotify had some sort of API to just make a little simple JavaScript or something that does some things. So if we sweep this component, shortest distance is. What are the results though? Yeah, it didn't move him. So we're gonna try one more time. So it didn't hit anything, is what's happening with this primitive component. Let's see, what is with this component? The position is -10. Why is the position -10? Probably because the camera's at -10, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Whoops. Yeah, I kept telling him, I was like, dude, you need to go play some games. Do it. Like, if you're making games, you better be playing them. It's finally like, fine, I'll do that. So this sweep component thing is not working, or we need to swap our character out. Switch him over to Fat Sack. Yeah, that didn't work either, did it? Yeah, there we go. It's Fat Sack running around. we need to figure out why our new functions here that we rely on for sweeping components in a direction are not actually doing what they should. So we know sweeping rays in a direction is working, but the sweep component is not. So I am guessing that sweep component's messed up. Alright, see you later, issue. Yeah, thanks for the encouragement. We're just working on stuff. C++ can be pretty slow and dry, and we're also setting up nuts and bolts here, so it's not like we got everything amazing. So let's double check our stuff. So this primitive component has its identifier is physics. Its identifier code is such. That is correct. It has a flipbook component and a primitive component. The primitive component we're looking for the trace channel. So alright, here it is. Trace channel is ECC world static. So primitive component get collision object type is not the right object type, to be honest. That's not right. Trace channel ECC world static. Oh, well, that's a good point. Like inside of our paper physics component, our paper flipbook component actually. This channel here, let's just see exactly what we're setting to. Because the component is definitely not set properly. So ident code is set there, and our channel is set to ECC game trace, which is proper. So if it is true, we're going to set the object type of the default instance of the body setup. Okay, so the body setup has the right stuff, but I need to set the, let's see what this current component has for its primitive component. Is it's probably that. It's probably right here. I need to set what is body setup? Body setup is set to inner object body setup. It's not necessarily here. It's that the primitive component needs to be set. So let's see. Do we still have that open? It's set collision object type. There it is. Alright, so do we have a get collision object type? Alright, yeah, so if comp get collision object type does not equal the channel, then we're going to call comp set collision object type channel, and we are going to say different is true. There we are. Because it's been deleted. Because I delete all links. Alright, Ishu, you can now post whatever links you want. You can also ban people and do all that. I don't really care. Go for it. Did I not stop this or something? It's because I'm building a project, so I need to build the solution. Now you got the sword. Now you can post those links. Oh yeah. Because we can't have horrible sites like Last.fm and Twitch chat. That's just outright. That's just rude. So let's see if we get the right hit results here. I don't think we did. Try one more time. Alright, the trace channel is game trace channel 12. Game trace channel 12 is enemy body. Well, he is an enemy. So we got the body instance. Collision profile name is custom. Oh, it's logging something is no physics data. So the body instance is a valid body instance? Why isn't it valid? Why is it not valid? Fatsack, your body is not a valid body instance. Fatsack's got some body issues here. So the body instance pointer we gotta figure out why the body instance here is and the other question is like, what the hell is this box 2D stuff in here? Shouldn't we be using physics? I guess with physics is also returning no actor. So it's like an invalid component or something. Is it because it's not attached to anything? Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe Fatsack's just built wrong. Because when we look at him, we've got this guy and this guy. They're paper physics components, which have collision on them. The collision presets are here, and they look. It's enemy body. I mean, this stuff looks wrong, but at least the object type is set. Is there something we have to do to make these body instances valid? Alright, see you, Ishu. Thanks for sticking around. Well, maybe it's like the first frame or something that hasn't refreshed its physics. I mean, that's just kind of something I could check. So, like, just remove that condition and just do this discover physics state every frame and throw ourselves on the floor. See if it does anything. Because I'm not familiar with the Unreal Force physics And I have no idea why we wouldn't have a physics object yet. We have to wait for a physics tick to get a physics object? That seems stupid. It should just have a freaking physics object. I mean, what the hell? So first frame. Same thing. We are going to also no physics data. Let's just go a few more frames. And let's see if the physics data exists now. No, it still doesn't exist. We're still no physics data. So it is outputting an error. Log collision. Alright, component suite multi, no physics data. Okay, so apparently there is a... I'll put this on screen real quick, but this is just another example of just stupid crap. So yeah, I'm basically just googling stuff on real forums, just like what the fuck. So it's like, okay, I'm trying to sweep by single channel. So this guy's doing the same basic stuff. He's like trying to sweep a collision shape from a mesh and model, and he's like, well, that's dumb. Why don't you just use the primitive component? He's like, well, I tried to use the primitive component, but component multi-overlap, component overlap multi doesn't do anything. There's like, oh, okay, well, that's because you need to set B always create physics state, and if you don't do that, none of this shit works. And it's like, well, why is it the default not to create the physics state for something you attach physics to? Like, you'd think you'd want that to just work, right? But no, we're gonna have to make your life a living hell. So we need to go to the Dashkin physics component and just do this, apparently. And like, that's it. And that's it. And that's just what we need to do. Let's see if it compiles. We can't create physics bodies of that magnitude. Not only that, but that collision log doesn't even go to the output window. What? So you're just throwing strings into the trash behind my back for some physics thing that's off by default. I mean, I'm gonna be a little upset about that. This is why we trade salt in Battle Brothers, because there's a lot of salt to be had. Yeah, obviously everything should be off by default. Oh, we're definitely in the last hour here of the stream. I'll be heading out probably in another 30 minutes, something like that. I gotta go do things. And by go do things, I mean I need to go practice my accuracy with my dad. We're gonna go shoot some targets, you know, because we're in America, so we're gonna shoot things. That's what we do. Alright, fat sack. Alright, fat sack. Come on now. Let's have a body that collides. Trace channel. Body instance. Is valid. It's not frickin' valid. Why not? Damn it. Why? Always create physics state. What am I shooting with? I'm shooting with handguns. No physics data. F body instance overlap multi. Let's see. Well, let's see. This thing doesn't seem to be working. Let's see. Longbow. Yeah, we're shooting guns. We're shooting handguns. This might be something that's only called. Right, so primitive component actually by default sets this to false. Is there like a should create physics state should be like maybe I should just chunk this in here and see like in the primitive component why it's not actually making itself. Longbow. We used to fire a bunch of bows when we were kids. Basically, my parents did the smart thing when we all were firing bows. What they did was they went out and they bought a couple hay bales and threw them in the backyard so we could fire arrows into the hay bales. But I mean, it was smart people, right? So you know, both doctors. So they set up these hay bales. They gave us these bows and arrows, and they're like, "All right, cool. So fire the arrows at the hay bales, and you know, we threw targets up and all that stuff." But of course, like we live in a city, you know, like we have a backyard, but you know, we got people beyond that backyard, and we're just like firing freaking arrows into these hay bales in our backyard, shooting towards our freaking neighbor's backyard and their house. and there's not like a wall or some other thing between them. So we're just like firing arrows, and these arrows would end up like in the other person's yard. I don't know what the hell my parents were thinking. So we should do ensure physics state created. If physics state is created when it should not, if physics state isn't created when it should, we should fix it up. So I think if I just call like this if different, like refresh physics, we create physics state, like we need to ensure physics state is created for these components. So let me just do that. Go away, Cortana. Nobody likes you. Cannot access protected member declared in U primitive component. Well, it's protected. Like, so I can just make my own frickin'. Oh, stupid. Void. Create physics state. And we can just, like, if it's protected, then I can just get around your crap. It's probably that this always create physics state just doesn't get called by the objects. So I got create physics state. Let's set it inside of the flipbook component. Now let's call this create physics state, and just ensure that our physics state is created properly. Yeah, but this is like we're shooting into our neighbor's yard, and we're like 10 years old, and we didn't care, and the neighbors complained, and our parents just like sat us down. They're like, okay, you know, like you're firing arrows, you know, that are dangerous towards your neighbor's yard. Cool. So they've been complaining. Here's what we want you to do. Stop missing. So, so that was their solution, was basically to, you know, sit us down and just be like, you know, get good. Shit. Thanks guys. You know, let's fire the dangerous arrows into our neighbor's yard. And just when they complain, we're just gonna say like, well, stop missing. Like, come on, guys, you guys are a bunch of morons. So. We didn't get much better. We just eventually, you know, outgrew the bows. So that was pretty fun for a while. I got like these big cardboard box targets, and we slapped a whole bunch to them, targets to the cardboard boxes, and we would we get those blunt tipped arrows, and we would shoot the blunt tipped arrows, and they would just rip massive holes because they were big arrows, you know, the big blunt tip ones, and they'd rip massive holes through this thing. It was great. You just annihilate these boxes. We also had a game where we'd go to the park, and there's a park near our house, and we'd go out into the middle of the park, and we'd shoot an arrow straight up. So the game was, you take, you know, the arrow, you shoot it straight up, and if you got hit by the arrow when it came down, you lost the game. And we played this with not blunt-tipped arrows. Let's just say nobody lost the game. Because that's you know, we're playing on hard mode, I guess. Alright, so we're calling ensure state on this thing. Like, ensure physics created, and is physics created, or should physics be created? Alright, let's see, what is this saying? So, ensure physics created is saying, should physics state be created? And it's like, should create physics state. Well, what is it? Should create physics state is probably false, isn't it? Yeah, we're smart people. This is a scene component, a paper physics component, and then you primitive component. B, always create physics state is 1. Is collision enabled? Well, is collision enabled? Why is this different? Because our body setup channel is not the same. Game chase channel, trace channel 12, body object type. I guess we don't really care about the body setup, and we're probably just screwing that up. So let's write that down. Body setup in paper flipbook component. That's CPP. Probably doesn't need to be set. The body setup object type probably doesn't matter, and I'm probably doing work I shouldn't have to. So we call create physics state. We're ensuring that it's created. Is like should created is collision enabled. Like should create physics state. Like I don't see us calling recreate physics state at all. So obviously something is wrong here where should create physics state is like is collision enabled. So enable collision. Alright, it's set collision enabled probably. I actually just probably need to enable collision on the component. So let's see. Set collision enabled. E collision enabled. I think it's query only. Used for spatial queries. Used both for physics sim and not. We'll see if this works. See if this is called properly. Looks like it. Set collision enabled. Set collision enabled type. Ensure physics state created. I don't see it recreating the physics state though. Yeah, this is just why? Why? Is physics created? If it shouldn't create physics state, but if the world wants to enable trace collision for components, allow it. So maybe there's something wrong with the world here? I think we need to set enable trace collision for the world. Alright, well, I think we gotta go to our game mode for this.